Conditional statements are another really important concept in computer science. They're really important because they allow us to add some decision-making ability for our program. And today, actually, in this example, I'm going to show you one really practical and really common example of conditional statements that you can actually find oftentimes in video games that oftentimes have to be using conditional statements. I can't think of any other way how programs would be using this without conditional statements, okay? So in order to do this, first I'm going to show you a couple things. First I'm going to show you one event handler that we haven't talked about in this class called onKeyPress. So if I write def onKeyPress, and then I write key here in parentheses, okay? onKeyPress is slightly different to onMousePress in that, well, it happens when you press the key, and so it only takes one parameter, and we're just going to call that key to keep it simple. But you can change the name. You could say K, but key is a little bit more descriptive, so we want to stick with that. All right, so now let me show you the conditional statement. You're going to notice something about the indentation, which I'll mention in a moment here. But conditional statements always start with if. And the if signals to the computer that there are going to be a couple different decisions that it can make based on a specific condition, which is what's going to be in the parentheses in a moment here. So if, let's say, key is equal to up, okay, let's say that I want a ball to move over to the, move up. So first, as you guys know, whenever I have a shape that I want to continually change, I need to create a variable for it. So I'm going to say, let's say ball equals circle 200, 200, and then I'm going to say that it's going to be a radius of 30, and then I'm going to say the fill is equal to red, okay? So let's say I want this ball to move up whenever I press the key. So first I created a variable for it, okay? Then I can use what we learned in Unit 2 about variables, where I can write ball dot center y, because it's going to be moving up, and then I can say minus equals, let's say 10. Okay, the minus equals tells the program whatever the center y was before, just subtract from that previous value. So I run it. Let's see, we've got no errors so far. Notice here how I have two indents. That's because this is called the body of the conditional statement. What you want to happen if the condition, which is right here in parentheses, what you want to happen if that condition is true, that gets indented as well, because it's not only part of a conditional statement, but it's also part of a function. Okay, so now I'm going to run this, and let's see what happens. All right, I'm going to press the up key. Ah, yes, and my ball is moving up. You can imagine where I'm going to go with this next. Okay, so underneath I'm going to write the word elif. Elif means if this condition up at the top wasn't true, check this. So now I'm going to say if the key is equal to down, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to do ball dot center y plus equals 10. So I'm going to run this. So when I press the up key, it goes up, 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 up. And then when I press the down key, it goes down, 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 down. Okay, next one. Now you can imagine where I'm going to go with this. Okay, if all of that isn't true, then I'm going to write something else. I'm going to say if the right key is pressed, I want the center X to increase. So let's try it now. Up, 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 down, 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 right, 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 right. And you can guess where I'm going next. Okay, all right, if the key is not right, let's check to see if it's left. And if it's the left key, we want it to go to the left. So I'm going to say, run this, and now it goes to the left. Up, right, down, okay? So this is a really common feature that you see in a lot of video games where you have something that's moving up and down based upon where you are pressing the key. And conditional statements are really a common way to make something like that happen in your animations, in the programs that you're creating. Now, one last keyword for a conditional statement is the word else. Else means if everything else failed, do something different. All right, so let's do something like this. If everything else failed, like if the person presses the wrong key, I'm gonna just create a label here that says press up, down, right, or left arrow. Okay, just gonna keep it simple, just so you can see what else means. All right, so I'm gonna run it. All right, now let's say I press the space bar. Yep, it gives me the instructions. I need to press up, down, right, left arrow. And that's what happens, okay? So that's just a brief tutorial on conditional statements. They allow our programs to have some decision-making ability. They always start with the keyword if, and if we want some more options, we can use elif to say, hey, check to see if this condition, the conditions are what we're testing here in parentheses, check to see if this condition is true. And if everything else fails, if we want there to be like a backup plan, if everything else failed, we can use else that says, do this.